Chapter 961. Orissa had just switched on her computer to work when Benjamin came in. Ethan was behind him, updating him about his schedule. She glanced at Benjamin and met his dark gaze. Suddenly, her cheeks grew warm. "You're here?" Benjamin asked as he made his way to her desk. Orissa bobbed her head. She refrained from speaking further as he was occupied. Benjamin sized her up before he spun on his heels and returned to his desk. Ethan gave Orissa a nod in greeting before continuing to report to Benjamin. "Coffee." Benjamin retrieved his cup and tapped on his desk to get her attention. Orissa looked up to see him concentrating on listening to Ethan's report. Rising to her feet, she got his cup and went to the bar to brew some coffee for him. As Ethan was also here, she brewed more coffee than usual. Orissa served Benjamin and Ethan each a cup of coffee. She first filled up Benjamin's cup, then poured one for Ethan. She set Benjamin's cup down and then put another cup in front of Ethan. "Mr. Frank, have some coffee." "Thank you, Mrs. Graham." Orissa felt embarrassed to hear that. "Just call me Miss York at work." Ethan merely flashed a smile. He noticed Benjamin looking at him and turned to meet his eyes. Benjamin's gaze was sharp, so he quickly turned his head and sipped on his coffee quietly. Orissa looked at Benjamin. "You have some too." Benjamin watched as she carefully set the plate of finger food she'd brought in front of him. "Have some food." "Okay." Benjamin nodded. He picked up one and offered it to Orissa. Orissa was taken aback by his gesture, but she accepted it nonetheless and devoured the treat before settling back into her seat. Benjamin's lips quirked up when he saw her blush. Ethan, on the other hand, rolled his eyes inwardly when he took in Benjamin's soft side. "Mrs. Graham holds a special spot in Mr. Graham's heart, huh?" Benjamin gave him a sidelong glance, prompting him to avert his gaze. "Hurry and finish whatever you need to say. Don't tell me you want another cup of coffee." Ethan stood straight and continued reporting his work progress to Benjamin. Orissa chuckled to herself as she watched the exchange between the two. She chomped on her food as she busied herself with work. After Ethan left, Benjamin turned to see her engrossed with work. "Are you full?" It took Orissa a while to realize he was talking to her. She lifted her head from her computer to look at him. "Yes, I'm full. I brought these for you, so eat up." A smile nudged Benjamin's lips as he brought the plate of food to her. "Let's eat together." Orissa looked into his eyes and laughed softly. Reaching for a piece of the snack, she popped it into her mouth and savored it. "Have you applied the medicine?" Benjamin asked in concern. Orissa choked on the food, caught off guard. At once, Benjamin patted her back to help her stop choking. "Have some water." He offered her a glass of water. Orissa gulped down some water and only then did she feel much better. "Be careful when you eat," Benjamin reminded her. Orissa pursed her lips. "I wouldn't have choked if you didn't mention that out of nowhere." Benjamin arched a brow at her furious expression. "I was worried that you wouldn't apply the medicine. That was why I asked you about it." The tips of Orissa's ears were red, as she couldn't bring herself to talk to him naturally regarding this embarrassing matter. "I need to work. Stop disturbing me." Benjamin's lips curled up as he watched her embarrassment turn to rage. He decided it was best to end the conversation. He ate a piece of finger food and also fed her one. As he insisted, Orissa had no choice but to eat it. Benjamin had fun feeding her the rest of the food. Orissa ended up consuming most of the finger food she brought, with Benjamin only eating a small portion. "I'm full." "That's enough," Orissa said, furrowing her brows. The remaining 2 pieces of finger food ended up in Benjamin's stomach. Looking at Benjamin, who was eating in an elegant manner, she asked, "Did you bring the kids to school this morning?" Chapter 962. "I did," came Benjamin's reply. He couldn't keep his gaze off her exquisitely made-up face. Her luscious red lips were especially captivating. He felt his heart racing at the sight of it. Placing his hands on her face, he forced her to look at him before pressing his lips to hers. MMPH. Orissa was surprised when he suddenly leaned in to kiss her. Her eyes widened as she met his, and her heart pounded wildly in her chest. "Close your eyes." Benjamin paused to remind her before he continued kissing her. Orissa's mind went blank at his passionate kiss. Benjamin only released her when he was satisfied. He gently pressed his forehead against hers, his warm breaths caressing her cheeks in an intimate gesture. Orissa's cheeks were flushed red. She inhaled deeply, taking in his captivating scent that made her heart flutter uncontrollably. Benjamin lowered his eyes to stare at her, his voice hoarse yet seductive. Your heart is racing. Orissa felt her cheeks burn. Isn't yours racing? She placed her hand on his muscular chest, feeling the rapid beating of his heart. Pleased, she shot him a smug look. Your heart is pounding just as hard as mine. Benjamin's gaze darkened with desire. He glanced at her tiny hand on her chest and swallowed a lump in his throat. Unable to control his urge, he gave her lips a peck. Orissa blinked. Seeing that he was about to continue, she swiftly dodged out of his reach. We're still in the office. Benjamin's gaze burned passionately as he pinched her cheek. So what? Orissa was at a loss for words. Right then, Benjamin's phone rang. Your phone is ringing. Orissa shoved him aside. Benjamin couldn't tear his gaze away from her as her flushed appearance seemed even more attractive to him. Your phone is ringing, Orissa repeated. Her cheeks burned when she realized he was still staring at her. Benjamin raised his brow and got to his feet. He retrieved his phone to see that it was a call from Darius. Dad. Hearing that, Orissa lifted her head to regard him. Benjamin was still staring at her intently, so she quickly averted her gaze and felt her ears turn red. Okay, I know. After ending the call, Benjamin said to Orissa, Dad wants us to have dinner at home tonight. Okay. Orissa nodded, trying to contain the anxiety that was beginning to swell inside her. Why did old Mr. Graham suddenly ask to have dinner with us? Benjamin returned to his seat and glanced at her. I'm not sure. Orissa was annoyed. Didn't he ask about the reason? She was speechless as she remembered how brief the phone conversation was. Well, what does old Mr. Graham like? Previously, she didn't need to bring anything to dinner with Darius when her relationship with Benjamin wasn't official yet. Now that they were together, however, things had changed. She would be meeting his parent officially, so it would be rude not to bring any gifts with her. Gifts for him? Benjamin surveyed her. Orissa nodded. Yes. I can't just go empty-handed, can I? Benjamin chuckled. Are you nervous? Can't I be nervous? Orissa felt defeated to realize that he had seen through her. An affectionate smile played on Benjamin's lips. Don't worry about that. I'll ask Ethan to prepare it. It's only more sincere if I buy a gift myself, Orissa muttered under her breath. It wasn't nice to pretend that she had purchased the gift when it was actually paid for by him. She felt it was not respectful to be so superficial toward their elders. Benjamin fixed his gaze on her and let out a hearty laugh. Why don't we head to the mall after we're done with lunch? Orissa's eyes lit up. You haven't told me about old Mr. Graham's preferences. I don't know, Benjamin replied flatly. Orissa was rendered speechless. Are you even his son? She demanded. How could he not know what his father likes? Benjamin cast a glance at her. What he likes depends on the person who gives it to him. Huh, Orissa was confused. Chapter 963. After they had lunch at noon, Benjamin kept his word and accompanied her to the shopping mall to buy a gift for Darius. They didn't stay long and left after buying the gift. Unbeknownst to them, someone had been watching them with eyes filled with jealousy and madness. Orissa and Benjamin went back to the office and resumed work. At the entrance of Graham Group, Miranda clenched her fists as her face contorted with jealousy. The sight of the grand and majestic building caused her to grit her teeth in fury. So this is where Orissa works. How did she get this lucky? She must be here because of the man. I'm certain she doesn't work here. The man looks like he works here, unlike the pathetic Orissa. Miranda felt a sense of unease as if ants were crawling across her heart. She was curious to know if Orissa worked at this place. She straightened her clothes and strutted into the lobby with her bag but was stopped by the security guard at the entrance. Do you have a visitor's pass? The security guard asked. Miranda had no idea security was that tight here. She halted in her tracks and flashed a smile. I'm the younger sister of the handsome young man who walked in earlier. Orissa was not the main focus of her visit, as her primary goal was to speak to that man. The The couple who entered earlier was Mr. Graham and Mrs. Graham. Mr. Graham doesn't have a younger sister, so this woman is obviously here to curry favor with him. The security guard's face turned stern as he shooed her away. Scram! Don't get in our way and cause trouble for us. Hey, how could you shoo me away? I'm his sister, Miranda insisted furiously. Scram! Our CEO doesn't have a younger sister. The security guards chided and regarded her with disdain. CEO. Miranda was excited to learn that the man was this influential. Your CEO? She asked, looking at the sign of Graham Group. Who else could he be? Stop kicking a fuss here or I'll send you to the police station, the security guard warned her icily. There were many women who came to the building in the hopes of running into Benjamin. Miranda could barely tamp down her excitement. I'm your CEO's younger sister. If you don't believe me, give him a call. The security guards couldn't be bothered to respond to her and merely glared at her. If she's Mr. Graham's sister, why isn't she calling him? She's obviously not related to him. As they refused to budge, Miranda relented and admitted that Arissa was her older sister. I'm actually Arissa York's younger sister. My name is Miranda York. You may have seen her walk in with your CEO just now. I'm here to see her. Do you believe me now? Miranda couldn't stop jealousy from bubbling within her when she learned that Arissa had walked in with Graham Group's CEO. She did not expect Arissa to be romantically involved with Benjamin, a powerful and influential person. PFF'd. She isn't that lucky. There's no telling whose man he'll end up as. Various evil thoughts had popped up in Miranda's mind, but she put on an innocent and flustered expression to angle for sympathy. Who are you trying to fool? Didn't you lie and say you were Mr. Graham's younger sister? The security guards refused to believe her. I'm telling the truth. I am Arissa York's younger sister, Miranda said hastily. She finally saw Arissa here and wouldn't leave that easily. If you refuse to allow me entry, I'll complain to her and ask Mr. Graham to fire you all, she threatened. The security guards shared a look, for they didn't know if Arissa had a younger sister. Their eyes went back to Miranda, who was dressed flamboyantly. They couldn't bring themselves to have a positive opinion of her. Does Mrs. Graham have a younger sister like her? Miranda lifted her chin arrogantly. If my sister gets wind of your mistreatment of me, she will not hesitate to punish you bullies, she warned, her voice tinged with contempt. Who are you calling a bully? The security guards fumed. One walked aside to contact Arissa to double-check if Miranda was indeed who she purported to be. Chapter 964. Arissa was baffled to receive a call from an unknown number. At first, she was hesitant to answer it, but she eventually picked it up. Hello, Mrs. Graham, this is Barney, the security guard here at Graham Group. We have a young woman here at the entrance who says she is your younger sister. Her name is Miranda York. Is she really your younger sister? Arissa froze upon hearing that. Her brows knitted as she wondered how Miranda knew where she was. She's not my younger sister, so just ignore her. How dare Miranda come all the way here and claim to be my younger sister? Has she no shame? I don't have a younger sibling like her. Understood, Mrs. Graham. The security guard hung up and joined his colleagues. He gestured for them to take action. She's not Mrs. Graham's younger sister. Kick her out. If you continue to cause trouble and create a disturbance, we will have no other choice but to take you to the police station. Please leave immediately and spare us the hassle. How shameless of you to claim to be Mrs. Graham's younger sister. Scram. The security guards rushed over to her and threw her out of the building. Miranda crashed onto the ground, her face contorted with rage. Arissa York. This isn't over yet. Mrs. Graham doesn't have such a younger sister. How could she be this shameless? Right. It has become increasingly common for people to claim that they are related to someone else nowadays. Miranda scrambled to her feet. When she heard how they addressed Arissa, her features twisted even more. Arissa is Mrs. Graham, she managed between gritted teeth. Despite having absolutely no connection to Mr. and Mrs. Graham, this scammer has the audacity to claim to be related to them. How can she be so brazen and shameless? One security guard berated. Despite her resentment, Miranda was adamant in her insistence that she was, in fact, Arissa's sister. Leave now, or we'll call the police for real, the security team leader warned. Miranda had no choice but to leave. But instead of leaving for real, she hid at the side. I must stop Orissa, that B*TCH, today. It must be a stroke of luck that she got to be Mrs. Graham. She must have gone to despicable lengths to win over Benjamin Graham's affection. Miranda felt her throat go dry when Benjamin's devilishly handsome face emerged in her brain. A hint of determination flashed across her eyes. After the call ended, Orissa was still frowning. How did Miranda figure out I was here? No matter how much she thought and pondered, she could not wrap her head around it since she had not noticed Miranda's presence anywhere. Benjamin sensed her mood had turned foul since the phone call. He gazed at her grim expression and asked, "Who was it?" Orissa looked up and revealed, the company's security guard. Baffled, Benjamin cocked a brow. "Why would he call you?" "It's nothing," came Orissa's answer. She pursed her lips, not wanting to talk about Miranda. Benjamin narrowed his eyes. Her response doesn't seem to indicate that it's nothing. He grabbed his phone to call the security guard downstairs. "Why did you call Mrs. Graham earlier?" Orissa gazed at him in bewilderment. Upon learning what had happened, Benjamin did not look happy. "Don't let her come any nearer to the office. Also, call me when someone wants to meet Mrs. Graham next time." He ended the call and glanced at Orissa, who was still wide-eyed in surprise. "Don't let this bother you." Orissa was touched by his concern. "I was just wondering how she found out my whereabouts." Benjamin glanced at her. "Perhaps she ran into us when we went shopping earlier." His words made sense to Orissa. However, Orissa couldn't be bothered as to why Miranda wanted to talk to her. When it was time to pick the kids up from school, Orissa packed up to leave. "Do you want to pick up the kids with me?" Her eyes fell on Benjamin, who was still diligently occupied with his work. Chapter 965. "Come here," Benjamin said. Orissa observed Benjamin, who was intensely focused on his work. His chiseled jawline and handsome features were so mesmerizing that she couldn't look away from him. As she approached him and caught a whiff of his alluring scent, her heart began to race uncontrollably. "What is it?" she asked. The sight of his handsome side profile and sexy Adam's apple caused her cheeks to turn pink. Benjamin swiveled around to regard her. "I told the bodyguards to pick them up, so you don't have to go." Surprised, Orissa shot him a bemused look. "When did you tell them to do that?" "I don't remember hearing him make that phone call." Benjamin's lips curled as he drawled, "Half an hour ago." Orissa chuckled. "Okay, I'll get back to work, then." As she turned around to go back to her seat, Benjamin caught her wrist and pulled her so that she was seated on his lap in a swift motion. "What are you doing?" Benjamin took advantage of the moment and leaned in to kiss her. He cupped the back of her head to deepen the kiss. Orissa's cheeks were flushed from the kiss. Benjamin only released her when she was on the verge of suffocating. The sight of her swollen lips and dazed look was so seductive that Benjamin could feel his desire surging within him. When Orissa met his dangerous gaze, she felt her heart skip a beat. Without a moment's hesitation, she pushed him away and attempted to stand, yet her legs failed her and she collapsed back on his lap. Benjamin's lips twitched as he tried not to laugh at the sight of her embarrassment. Noticing his reaction, Orissa pursed her lips and whined, "Why are you laughing?" "I wasn't laughing." Benjamin gazed at her affectionately. He reached out to support her and straightened her clothes. "You should have told me earlier. I've already switched off my computer." Orissa glared at him. Benjamin chuckled softly, "You can help me deliver some documents." He lifted his chin to gesture at a few documents that he had already signed earlier. Orissa put her bag down, organized the files, and headed out. "Just give them to Ethan," Benjamin said. "You've signed them all, right? I can just return them accordingly. If you do, Ethan won't know the progress and will ask me about it." In reality, Benjamin didn't want her to exhaust herself. "Oh, okay." Orissa didn't doubt his words and went to Ethan's office with the files. Ethan was still occupied with work, but as soon as he saw her, he quickly stood up to take the files from her. "Mrs. Graham, why did you bring them here? You could have asked me to come to you." Orissa flashed a smile. "I was free, so Mr. Graham told me to deliver the files to you." Should I help you deliver them to their respective departments? Ethan was flattered, but he dared not order her around. No need for that. I can do that later. I'm free and can run some errands. Take a look at the files and tell me which are urgent, Orissa said. Ethan was quite busy and was grateful for her offer to assist him. Thank you, Mrs. Graham. You're welcome. I was bored because there wasn't much work to do. Orissa waited as Ethan went through the files. Those that did not require his further review were given to her, so she could deliver them to the appropriate departments. Thanks a lot, Mrs. Graham. I'll buy you a cup of coffee next time, Ethan said cheerfully. Orissa grinned. Sure thing. Can't wait for you to treat me to a cup of coffee. She collected the files and visited different departments to return them to their rightful owners. The department managers were taken aback to see her. They offered her coffee, but she politely declined. After that, she returned to Benjamin's office. The entire process took around 30 minutes. What took you so long? Benjamin frowned as he regarded her. Don't tell me she chatted with Ethan for such a long time. He recalled how Ethan was a big fan of Orissa and felt jealousy churning in his heart. Orissa observed him with amusement. I was just delivering the files. What's the matter? Benjamin's expression stiffened when he noticed how matter-of-fact she looked. You're my secretary, not Ethan's. Why did you help him deliver the files? Chapter 966. Orissa was speechless at how petty he was. She had only offered help, as she was free. All I did was deliver the files. Why are you upset? She bit her lip and regarded him carefully. It was obvious she knew her mistake, so Benjamin tamped down his feelings. I didn't want you to tire yourself. Orissa's lips curled into an alluring smile. I'm not tired. It was a nice opportunity to walk around and relax. There was a flicker in Benjamin's eyes when he noticed how happy she was. She's easily satisfied, huh? Orissa turned around to pour them both some water. Have some water. There were still many files on his table, so she asked, are you busy today? A little. Benjamin sipped on the water and got back to work. After finishing her water, Orissa went to him to knead his shoulders. Benjamin tensed up, then relaxed as a small smile played on his lips. It was clear that he was enjoying her massage. Is this comfortable? Orissa leaned over and poked her head over his shoulder to ask that question. Her breath fanned across his cheek. Benjamin caught a hint of her captivating scent and gulped as his throat went dry. He couldn't help but press a kiss on her cheek and grunt in acknowledgement. Orissa stood straight and blushed to the tip of her ears. She then glared at the back of Benjamin's head. Can't he be serious for once? She deliberately increased the pressure of her massage on his shoulders. Knowing that she did it on purpose, Benjamin smirked and let her be, as the pressure was just right for him. A while later, Orissa's hands were sore. She gradually decreased the pace of her massage and kept glancing at the door. Why aren't the kids here yet? More than 30 minutes have passed since classes ended, so they should be here by now. I think they are almost here. Let's wait for a bit more, Benjamin replied. Orissa pressed her lips together. Since she had nothing else to do, she continued massaging his shoulders. Right then, the car rolled to a stop outside the building with the kids inside. The 6 of them carried their bags and hopped off the car one by one. Everyone couldn't help but stare at the adorable and angelic little kids. Hello, kids, they greeted the children cheerfully. After all, it was rare to see the children at the office. Everyone would have rushed over to hug the kids if they didn't dislike being hugged. From afar, Miranda creased her brows in confusion at the commotion. Are they kids' models? How cute. Hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. The children greeted everyone in the lobby before sprinting to the elevator. Hurry, Tim. Faster, Jesse, Gavin, Zachary, Oliver, and Jasper urged Jesse and Tim, who were lagging behind. Tim and Jesse held hands as they observed their surroundings curiously. So this is where Mommy and Daddy go to work. It looks fun. Hurry, Mommy is waiting for us. Zachary ran to them and pulled them over. The rest also followed suit and pulled Tim and Jesse toward the elevator. Come on. The kids took the elevator to the top floor. Gavin, do you come here often? Jasper asked excitedly. Zachary and Oliver were quite excited as well. However, They appeared to be more composed than Jasper. Tim and Jessie had been observing the area with excitement since they arrived. Not really. I only came here occasionally. Did you come here with Mr. Graham? Jessie asked. Yes. Gavin's cheeks turned pink. Daddy will bring me here whenever I refuse to stay at home alone. Zachary's eyes sparkled mischievously. Why did you choose to come here instead of staying at home? Don't you think staying at home would have been more fun? This is where the adults work. It seems boring. Staying at home seems to be a more interesting choice. Chapter 967. Gavin blushed. I don't remember. You must remember. Look, you're blushing. Oliver stared at his face and burst into giggles. Hurry, spill. Jasper grinned. Gavin's blush deepened. I just didn't want to stay at home. When I was in a bad mood, all I wanted was to be with Daddy. Tim gazed at Gavin. I hide when I am in a bad mood. Shouldn't you hide when you're in a bad mood? He turned to look at Zachary, and the latter nodded in agreement. I do hide sometimes, Gavin whispered in embarrassment. His siblings found his reaction amusing. I hide too, Gavin. Jessie squeezed to the very front and held his arm so he wouldn't feel awkward. Jasper gasped. Stop lying. You stuck to mommy and whined all the time. Jessie stuck her tongue out and retorted, you do that, too. Jasper pinched her cheek. You do that more often than me. When the elevator doors slid open, the children ran to Benjamin's office under Gavin's lead. Mommy, don't run that fast. Jessie grew flustered as she was left behind. Tim shouted, Jessie, hurry up. He ran back to her and took her hand, tugging her along as they rushed to keep up with the rest. Seeing that, the rest came to a stop to wait for them. Faster. Jessie whined, I can't go any faster. Orissa heard the noise outside and found it funny. She got up and was about to go welcome them when they ran toward her. Mommy, hello. Orissa walked away from her desk, and the children immediately leapt into her arms. She threw her arms around them and kissed their faces affectionately. Why are you still carrying your bags? Orissa was surprised to see their bags with them. Mommy, you have to work, right? We have homework to do too. Zachary said. Realization dawned on Orissa, and she brought them to the couch. Do your homework here. We will head to Grandpa's house to have dinner later. Dinner at Grandpa's. Jasper gasped in surprise. Orissa patted his head. Yes. Grandpa invited us to join him for dinner at the old manor tonight. Wow, sounds amazing. There will be a lot of food there. Jessie exclaimed in delight. Tim and Gavin could barely hide their delight, too. Mommy, aren't we going to visit great-grandaunt? Oliver asked as he looked at Orissa. Hearing that, the rest also turned to look at her. Orissa's eyes sparkled. You can call her. I don't know when dinner will end. If it finishes early, we can go visit her. Sure. Tim nodded eagerly. Gavin ran to Benjamin's desk to greet him. Daddy. Likewise, Tim, Zachary, Oliver, Jasper, and Jessie went over to greet Benjamin as well. Mr. Graham. Benjamin paused his work and looked at them fondly. You can play while I work. We will go to Grandpa's house later. Okay. The children ran back to Orissa and got her to sit down. They then proceeded to tell her about their day at school today. A loving smile played on Orissa's lips as she fed them some water. She then settled down beside them, offering her help and support as they did their homework. Hurry and complete your homework. When your daddy is done, we'll head to Grandpa's house. The kids didn't start by asking to play. Instead, they took out their homework to work on. After completing their homework, they video called Mary and chatted with her happily. However, the kids knew they shouldn't disturb Benjamin at work. They moved further away from him and spoke to Mary softly. Orissa was pleased to see them behaving like responsible children. After their call ended, she brought them around the top floor. Chapter 968. It was 5:30 when Benjamin was finally done with work. Orissa and the children weren't in his office, so he packed up his stuff and went out in search of them. Orissa and the children were currently at Ethan's office. Sweethearts, that's enough. Let's not bother Mr. Frank at work, Orissa said. It's fine, Ethan responded cheerily. He welcomed the kids, as it was rare to see them at work. Orissa gave a soft chuckle as she watched him play with the children. Mr. Frank, when are you going to get off work? We'll be having dinner at Grandpa's place later, Jessie revealed with a bright smile. Ethan pinched her cheek dotingly. Wow, you'll get to eat yummy food while I work. Jessie let out a giggle. I'm sure Grandpa's got something delicious at his place. If there is, I'll call the driver to bring some over for you. Ethan was flattered. Sure thing, Mr. Frank, we'll ask someone to deliver yummy food, so don't eat too much for dinner, Zachary reminded him. Delighted, Ethan gave them a hug and kissed them. Thank you, kids. Right then, Benjamin, standing at the door, called out, Orissa, we need to go. Orissa turned over her shoulder and was taken aback to see his grim expression. Let's go, Benjamin said. Okay, Orissa responded hastily. She gathered the kids. Come on, sweethearts. It's time to head to Grandpa's house. The children waved goodbye to Ethan and left his office. Daddy, are you done with work? Gavin ran to Benjamin excitedly and raised his head to look at him. Benjamin ruffled his hair and replied, Yeah, my work is done. Yay, we can finally leave now. Oliver clapped happily. Tim, Zachary, Jasper, and Jessie cheered in excitement as well. Orissa's lips curled up when she saw how delighted they were. All right, kids, come, let's go downstairs. Mommy, we need to get our bags. Zachary said. He was the first to sprint to Benjamin's office in his haste to retrieve his bag. Mommy, I'll go get my bag too. Oliver said and ran away. Mommy, me too, Tim chirped. The rest also followed suit. The 6 children soon disappeared from sight. Benjamin extended his arm toward Orissa. The latter's cheeks flushed with warmth as she gently intertwined her fingers with his. Benjamin led her back to his office and asked, What were you doing there? Orissa watched him closely and could tell that he was slightly upset. I was bringing the kids around the company. She took a surreptitious glance in his direction and was surprised to find him staring right back at her with his dark eyes. Her heart fluttered at the suddenness of it, and she couldn't help but ask, Is something the matter? Benjamin pursed his lips. It's nothing. Despite his response, Orissa still felt that he was displeased. Were the kids too noisy? She asked. Benjamin's gaze shifted to her, and he gave her a light pinch on the cheek before responding with a firm but gentle voice, No. It's not about them. Orissa pouted, confused as to why he appeared so upset with her. Then why do you look so grim? She asked, hoping to discover the source of his displeasure. As she was frowning unhappily, Benjamin stepped forward and gently drew her nearer to him. He spoke in a quiet, soothing tone. Don't hang around Ethan so often in the future. Orissa froze and stared at him in shock. What do you mean? Seriously, is he jealous? Benjamin furrowed his brows and knocked her forehead gently. Stay in my sight. Orissa was struck dumb, yet she could feel a sense of warmth radiating through her chest. She gulped and explained, All I did was bring the kids to greet Mr. Frank. Don't read too much into it. Are you not confident in yourself? Chapter 969. Benjamin narrowed his eyes and stared at her with displeasure. Don't hang with him often. With a smile, Orissa hurriedly pacified, Fine, I understand. However, I still need to meet him during work. Besides, why are you worried I'll fall in love with someone else when you're so handsome and charming? Pursing his lips, he thought, I'm not worried she'll fall for someone else. I'm just concerned Ethan won't be able to resist her allure. Are you feeling insecure about yourself, Mr. Graham? She leaned her face toward him and gazed at his dashing countenance. Upon looking into her eyes, he pinched her cheek forcefully. I'm not. Orissa continued to stare at him with a grin, which made Benjamin feel a little uncomfortable. In response, he pushed her head away and forced her to look the other way. Keep your eyes on the road. Her smile deepened when she saw his shy expression. Don't worry, the only person I love is you. I absolutely won't fall for anyone else. His heart fluttered. While he was aware she was merely jesting, it still made him uncontrollably happy. Expressionlessly, he chastised, Is this how you proclaim your love? In such a casual way. A tinge of mischief flashed past her eyes as she pecked his cheek. Don't get jealous, my love. I only see Mr. Frank as a good friend, and I treat him well because he's someone you regard highly. Benjamin scoffed pridefully, but his mien had clearly turned tender. Orissa stole a few more glances at him, amused. It was then the children approached them with their backpacks. "Mommy, Daddy, we're good to go. Mommy, Mr. Graham, we're ready." Grinning at the children, Orissa said, "Okay, let's go, then." The children merrily approached and surrounded her. Benjamin peered at his children and coughed. "Can't you lot call me Daddy?" He was worried strangers would think he was their stepfather. In response, Orissa glanced at him and then at the children. Tim and the others merely smiled as they stubbornly refused to change what they called Benjamin. In the end, Gavin spoke up. "I can call you that until you're satisfied, Daddy." "It's not the same." Benjamin scoffed slightly. "This little rascal has switched sides, too. Sometimes, he'll call me, Mr. Graham, like his siblings." "How unruly. If you want us to call you that as soon as possible, you need to work harder, Mr. Graham." Mischief settled on Zachary's face. Again, Benjamin scoffed. "That's right. HMPH. Jasper mimicked his father and snorted before taking Oliver and Jess's hand, rushing ahead. Gavin did the same with Zachary and Tim. "Hurry. Grandpa must be waiting for us." The edges of Benjamin's lips twitched. "Since when is he waiting for us?" Orissa merely smiled in response and followed Benjamin and the kids into the elevator. Instead of heading down to the entrance, they went straight to the underground parking lot. The children turned their lines of sight toward Benjamin in confusion. Gavin informed, "Our car is at the entrance, Daddy. We're not riding in that one. I'll be the one driving." Benjamin replied plainly. In reality, he was worried Orissa would get upset if she came across Miranda, who was at the entrance. Hence, he decided not to leave through the main exit. Orissa was touched, as though she already knew the reason he took them to the underground parking lot. Upon raising her head, she uttered, "Thanks." He lifted his eyebrow. "What for?" "You know why." She grinned, staring at his mystical and attractive eyes. The children snickered in secret when they noticed their parents flirting. Jasper teased, "Can the both of you control yourselves, Mommy and Mr. Graham?" "You're flirting again." Blushing, Orissa pinched her son's cheek. "Nonsense. We weren't doing that." Jasper laughed, hid behind Gavin's back, and made a funny face at her. Chapter 970. All the kids except for Gavin hadn't been to the underground garage before. Hence, the five of them scanned the lightly furnished garage with curiosity and amazement as though they had just stepped into a luxurious exhibition. "Wow, there are so many cars here." Zachary's eyes were glowing with excitement. Even Tim was dazzled by the view. It was only natural for boys to be interested in cars. Even Jesse loved what she was looking at. "Where's your car, Mr. Graham?" Curling his thin lips, Benjamin picked his daughter up and held Orissa's hand. Then, he ambled toward the car he was taking. Gavin and the others promptly followed them. At the same time, he filled his brothers in about their father's cars. This one, and that one are all Daddy's cars." The other four boys were shocked. "Wow, he has so many cars. There are a lot more back home." Gavin turned to them. "Once we've returned, I'll show you guys." His brothers nodded excitedly. "Can we touch it?" Tim inquired carefully. He wanted to touch a nearby car, but he didn't have the guts to do it because he was afraid he would ruin it. "Sure, Daddy won't mind." Gavin grinned. The edges of Benjamin's mouth curved upward when he heard that. "Looks like Gavin holds me in pretty high regard after all." Turning back, he announced to his sons, "Touch and stare at the cars however you like." "It's fine." Upon receiving his permission, the boys, except Gavin, joyously did as their father allowed them to. Orissa and Benjamin smiled as they watched the children have fun. "I want to take a look, too, Mr. Graham." Jessie also wished to touch the luxurious cars as she had never seen most of them before. Slowly, Benjamin put her down. "Don't rush." She dashed toward her brothers as soon as her feet landed on the ground. It was apparent that they all really liked cars. Benjamin wrapped his arm around Orissa as the two of them leaned at the side, beaming at the kids, who were cheerfully exploring the cars. Orissa glanced at him. "How many cars do you have?" She was also shocked when she heard what Gavin said because she thought only a few vehicles in the company's garage belonged to him. You've never been to the garage in my home. He shifted his sight toward her. Nope, she seldom needed to use a car, and whenever she did, someone else would drive her to the destination. Thus, she only ever took a glimpse at his garage and never really explored it. I'll bring you all to visit my garage once we return home during the night. Benjamin wasn't showing off. All he wanted was for her to know what sort of cars they had in their home. You're free to drive whatever car catches your eye. Really? Orissa's eyes lit up. There's no doubt he collected those cars because that's his hobby. If I accidentally damage them, he'll get upset. Pulling her into his embrace, Benjamin nodded. Of course. You are my wife. These cars belong not only to me but also to you. You're free to drive it however you want. Just be mindful of your safety. Delighted, she nodded vigorously. Thank you, Mr. Graham. He was displeased to hear her calling him that. Blushing, Orissa exclaimed, Thank you, darling. Good. As he took in her shy countenance, his heart skipped a beat. He then leaned toward her and kissed her on the lips. In response, she patted his chest, signaling him to stop, but he merely tightened his grip on her and deepened the kiss. Suddenly, the children approached them. Ah, Mommy is doing something embarrassing with Mr. Graham. They encircled their parents and watched their parents kiss each other. A faint blush was visible on all their faces. Jessie even tried to cover her eyes with her hands, but the gaps between her fingers were too big, so her efforts were for naught. Her 5 brothers also watched their parents with embarrassment. Eventually, Orissa pushed Benjamin away, her face red as a tomato. Let's get into the car. Just as she turned around to do that, he reminded her with a smile, take the passenger's seat. The children giggled.